You're listening to a CNA podcast.
Hi, it's the Work It podcast with me, Tiffany Ang, and each month I sit down with a colleague from CNA Today to discuss a work-related issue. Today, we're going to talk about the topic of networking. Before I go on, I want to say that I have a love-hate relationship with networking. See, I've always associated it as a transactional interaction. I go to an event, scan the room, find someone who might be useful to me, and strike a conversation with them. I've never liked that. It's too fake for me, and it makes me feel like a predator. Even worse, a prey if I'm on the other side of the equation. But today, I've invited my colleague Gwenneth Teo to talk more about this, because Gwenneth is researching and writing an article for CNA Today on this very topic. Welcome, Gwenneth.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So writing this article must have been a learning journey for you because you're very new to the workforce, right? Just to give our listeners some context, you're an intern with CNA Today. So what have you learned about networking when you were doing this article?
Actually, because I'm a uni student, so I'm an intern right now, I'm still studying. So I'm pretty sure that I will get my first job out of graduation, it will be through my networks and connections. So I do put quite a lot of pressure on myself to network well. And actually, when you go into these events, it's always at the back of my mind that maybe today I can find the person who might give me a job after graduation. So it's quite stressful and I pressure myself to at least do well. But one thing that I learned through covering this story is that actually networking can be a good place to form authentic friendships. And I'm actually quite surprised I didn't really think of that before that.
Did you ever see networking as maybe not just at events, but maybe in the workplace, like here when you were interning with us? Did you ever see that this is also part of networking for you?
I do, maybe not strictly like networking when I think about it. Of course, as an intern, you want to make good impressions on your colleagues and your editors, your bosses as well.
For sure,
yeah, but I don't really think of it as networking. It's more about just creating a good impression and making sure that I do my work. I'm known as a hard worker or good worker, and I think the good impressions will come in after that.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about what is the importance of networking, or what's the importance of making work friends?
So as a fresh grad, I do feel very intimidated when I network because technically, usually you are interacting with people who are higher job status than you, a lot more experience than you. So you do feel very scared that are they judging me? But one thing I learned through doing this article was that actually these work friends can really help you visualize who you can be in the future.
Okay,
like you surround yourself with people that you imagine yourself to be. Like right now, I'm interning. I'm surrounding myself with a lot of colleagues who I really look up to. I really respect their work ethic and the way they write. And it really helps me be more confident in visualizing myself that in the future I can be like them as well. Yeah,
you make a good point because when I was an intern as well, I did wonder who would give me time of day.
Yeah.
A lot of people will probably see that there's nothing much that I can offer them. So the power dynamics are a little
usually
bit
it's really
different.
whether they're kind enough to give you their time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're already in the workforce for a while, maybe you hold a certain brand name because of the company that you're working for, then people are likely to approach you. So I think it's harder when you are starting out because you're like,
I have nothing to say. I just like, I'm a
Yeah.
uni grad, but I don't have any experience, whatever. Yeah.
But I don't think it's entirely true as well. I don't think it's just only about reaching to the kind strangers that you meet. But I think there are actually people who are interested to find out more about you, right? Find out more about what are you interested in, what do you want to pursue, and how can I help you get there? Because I think more often than not, there are people in whichever industry that you are in who will be interested to mentor. Another point about networking is someone like myself. So I've been in the workforce for a while, maybe mid-career, and it allows me to also increase my salary and promotion opportunities. So, for example, I could be meeting people and telling them who I am, what kind of skills I have, make the conversation very casual, right? So it allows people to go, hey, maybe this is somebody who I can hire for my company.
Yeah.
Internally, I'm speaking to different people and they might go, I can see the fire in her eyes, or I can see that this is something she's gunning for. Maybe in future when there's a promotion opportunity, I can try and put her up for promotion. But earlier on, we were talking about this idea of not making networking feel transactional.
Yeah, I think that's a common issue that a lot of people face. Like they feel it's very transactional and very fake, that you go into the interaction knowing that one day you are going to ask this person for a favor. Yeah, so I think that's what discourages a lot of people from even starting to network.
So you spoke to some people for your article, right?
Yeah.
And what did they say about having the right mindset for networking?
So for this story, I spoke to someone who initially she struggled with networking, but over time she actually learned that when you attend networking sessions, you should attend it with purpose.
Okay.
So for her goal is to, can I learn something out of it? Can I make authentic connections out of it? So that helped her to go from being scared that there's a transactional nature to looking forward to a networking session because she's going to learn something out of it. So one big point when I spoke to career coaches for this article was that they say you should transition from this mindset that you are going to need something to you can offer something to other people. So whether is it like you can connect two people together, so maybe two different people, they are looking for the same thing, you can connect them together, or you can offer insights, so on your past experiences or any thoughts related to that person's field of interest.
Yeah, I think the connecting part is a very easy way in, especially if you are new to an industry or if you are new to the workforce.
And that also helps the person to remember you better as well, because the person will be like, oh, I remember you because you helped me connect me with this other person that really helped me with my work.
Okay, so what kind of skills do you think a good networker should have versus somebody who's not good at networking?
So first, the ability to listen and have a genuine conversation. So not just go on and on about yourself, but also be able to ask questions about the other person and actually show that you're interested and very genuinely interested in wanting to know the other person. And also, when you introduce yourself, because when you go to these network sessions, you never know who you're going to meet. So I think one good skill to have is being able to cater your introduction and whatever you speak about to the person that you're speaking to.
Okay, so for example?
So for example, like I go to a networking session and I meet someone who's like a scientist. So how would you introduce yourself? Like your job and what you do?
Actually, I don't even know whether a scientist is interested in hearing what I'm doing. Because again, I would be like, okay, what can I offer to the scientist, right?
Yeah, so that's the point of like creating something relatable to the other person so that the scientist can be like, oh, so that's how your work relates back to me.
What if that person gives you the roll eyes or it's so obvious that they're not interested in
then it's a sign that you should go and find someone else. They're not worth your time. Like networking sessions are so short. You should just skip to the next person if they're not interested in you.
Sometimes I've seen people who forget to tell their names.
Yeah.
So they just go there, hi, you are, and then they continue on. And at the end of the conversation, that person will be like, oh, actually, I don't think you have introduced your name. Yeah, or at the networking session, right? The first hello, sometimes it's very overwhelming for people because they have
the nerves, right?
And they have met 10 people already. How are they going to remember that your name is Gwenneth Teo,
yeah.
right? So what I do is that I do it like a donut. So I start with, okay, my name is Tiffany. At the end, when I say my goodbye, I'll remind them my name again. I'll say, oh yeah, by the way, I know you meet a lot of people. I'm Tiffany. Nice to meet you again.
Yeah, that's actually something that I learned also while doing this article. Like speaking to someone who trains other professionals on how to conduct themselves. She did suggest that when you introduce yourself, don't skip over the importance of making a memorable introduction. So when you introduce your name, try to make it witty or at the very least memorable. So try to make a joke. If the person looks like they can take a joke, try to make a joke. So the key objective is to make an image in your head that will stick. So even after a while they see you or you text them only after a very long while, they can still remember you.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm named after Gwenneth Paltrow.
Yes.
Yeah, so I can be like, oh, hi, my name's Gwenneth. I'm named after Gwenneth Paltrow. So that person has like an image in their head linking Gwenneth Paltrow to me, even though like I look nothing like her. But there's that image and it's a lot easier to remember. But at least the advantage is that I have a unique name.
Yes.
But for other names that are more common, it can be quite challenging to think of a very unique introduction. But you need to think about how to uniquely introduce yourself also.
Yeah. It might not be names, right? It could be something else as well. It could be something
it can be like
in
your hobbies or like what you do for work also.
Yeah. Maybe it could be something that you notice that person is wearing. So if you understand watches, I don't. But if you understand watches,
I don't.
then you see like this person is wearing like a limited edition something or whatever, right? And then you can say, oh, is that
so and so watch?
Whatever watch. And then that person will go, oh, yeah, talk a little bit about it and then introduce yourself as somebody who likes watches or you're a watch collector. That creates a sticking point too. We have talked so much about like networking sessions. What are the kind of things that you will look out for when you are networking within our organization?
When I spoke to career coaches, they did say it's very important, especially for people in their mid-careers or looking to find a new job. So networking within your organization can be interacting with your superiors. Like you can tell your superiors, oh, if you need help with this and this, you can come to me. So it creates that connection. So next time when your bosses or other colleagues need help with it, they can come to you. So that helps with being proactive and showing that you can help others as well. I think it's all about creating good impression through your hard work first. Show through your work and not just your words, but your hard work. Show that you're capable of doing good quality work.
Yeah. I think for me, one of the things that I've learned is to seek lateral connections within the workplace. So say, for example, I'm from the podcast team and you're from CNA Today, right? So talk to maybe other editors on the CNA Today team just to say, hey, what are you guys working on? Right? And then we can have a very informal conversation. For our listeners who don't know, actually this entire series that we're doing between our podcast team and CNA Today was really born out of me just going to one of your editors and saying,
having a conversation.
I would like to have a conversation with your reporters because they're doing work-related issues. I really love the articles that you guys are writing. I don't know how we can do this, but this is my idea. And then they see that, they get inspired. At least we make that connection, right? And people move, even within our industry, people move, whether they stay in our company or they move to different companies. People know what you have done and what you're capable of. So to me, lateral connections help. The other way I've also learned as well is to build relationships at different levels. So I could be, let's say, talking to the boss of another team, but in a very informal setting. It doesn't have to be like a, hi, my name is... It could be meeting them in the pantry and say, oh, I saw this thing that your team has done. I really liked it. Just want to say good work. By the way, I'm Tiffany, right? And then the boss of that department obviously would feel very appreciated because somebody has encouraged a team member and they will remember my name.
Even in my past internships or work experience, I also try to create a good relationship so that even after you leave, you can still try to ask, oh, hey, do you happen to have any open job positions?
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. And these are people who will advocate for you, right?
Yeah, because they know that you are capable of doing good work.
Yeah. So don't be afraid, I guess, whether you are starting in your career, mid-career, or even towards the end of your career. Don't be afraid to reach out to your boss, your manager's peers, or even external leaders.
I think also word travels fast. When other people know about your name, they can also ask, oh, actually, I know someone who works on this team, same as you as well. So they can even reach out to that person and be like, hi, I heard of this person. How is it like to work with them?
Yeah,
I think that's also very important as well, that the word that other people can give for you. So
So another thing that I think is important to touch on is, so far we've been talking about face-to-face, right? Let's talk about networking via digital means, which is something that all of us use now,
LinkedIn.
right? LinkedIn, exactly. What have you learned in terms of connecting with people over digital? Because sometimes it can be a bit cold, right? If it's just written words.
Okay, for online networking, it usually falls into two categories. So it's connections on LinkedIn and also online networking sessions. So for LinkedIn, I think it's a very common tool, especially for my generation. I'm not sure whether mid-career people, they use LinkedIn as much. But
she's looking at me like, just not sure, you know.
We did have a conversation about how she feels old now that I'm here.
It's true. But yes, we do use LinkedIn. I mean, I use LinkedIn to reach out to people for this podcast.
Oh, okay. So LinkedIn is a good platform to reach out to people. But I think one thing you can do to make yourself memorable when you send out all these connections and requests to other people is to craft a personal message to them. So sometimes even on my own LinkedIn, I get random requests from like engineers or someone who's totally unrelated to my field. And I'm like, why do you request to follow me? It feels very transactional. It's just that you want to hit like a certain amount of connections on your page so that when I go to your page, I can see, 500 plus connections. So it feels very weird. But if you were to send me a personal message, you say, oh, hi Gwen, I saw that your work experience, actually I interned here before in the past, so would you like to connect? I think that feels a lot better knowing why this person decided to connect to you. But when I worked on this article, I also found out that Gen Zs, they tend to lack face-to-face networking skills.
Oh wait, Gen Zs like face-to-face.
No, they hate.
Or they hate.
They lack the skills.
Or they lack the skills. Okay.
Yeah, so I was speaking to one career coach. She does workshops in university. So she does teach university students how to network, basic career skills. And she did say that she has to teach uni students like how to shake other people's hands, how to look at people in their eyes when they talk to them. But she did say it wasn't that hard to teach them because they're very enthusiastic to learn. But the fact that
It has to be taught at a university level.
That was quite interesting. Like, I didn't know that we were lacking so much in social skills. Yeah.
I think they should definitely bring this earlier. They should start teaching,
Secondary school.
Secondary school, exactly.
One of the career coaches suggested is for uni students who feel very scared at the thought of networking is to just try in everyday life. So when you're at a coffee shop, you're ordering food, try to strike a conversation with the auntie and uncle. It doesn't have to be you order, then you stand one side and look at your phone until your food is ready.
Yes.
You can also practice with older relatives as well. It's about creating that conversational skills so you're not just awkwardly trying in your head, struggling to find a topic to speak to someone's older also.
Yeah, practice it on the everyday so that you don't have to...
It becomes natural.
Yeah, then you're not freezing when the moment comes.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody is interested to find out more tips, more advice on how to network better, Gwenneth's article will be coming out this weekend. That's on CNA Today. Stay tuned for that. Thank you so much, Gwenneth, for coming on our podcast today.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
The team behind the Work It podcast is Crispina Robert, Junaini Johari, Joanne Chan, Saye Wind. Sound mixing is by Carrie Lim. That's it from us. See you next week.